Hi, I'm JoAnn Regan, President of Financial Security Group of Arizona, and I'd like to welcome you to my Retirement Success Workshop, Part 1, Estate Planning. A little bit about myself. I started this company 20 years ago, but I've been in this industry of estate, financial, and tax preparation for about 40 years. I'm an IRS enrolled agent, which means I'm federally licensed to do tax preparation and tax representation. And I'm certified by the Arizona Supreme Court as a legal document preparer, giving me the licensing to be able to prepare the documents that we're going to be talking about today. Workshop is sponsored by my company, Financial Security Group of Arizona, established in 1999. We're an A+ Better Business Bureau accredited business, and we take great pride in being able to provide awesome service to our clients. I also, when I started this company, my goal is to be able to do a one-stop shop for my clients where they would be able to get everything they needed in one office. So as a result, because we do estate, financial, and tax planning, I established these other companies to be able to help my clients. So let me tell you a little bit about those. FSG Financial Services, a registered investment advisory firm, and we do wealth management for our clients and financial planning to be able to help them retain or meet their retirement goals. Second is FSG Tax Advisors, a federally licensed tax firm where we do individual, business, and estate taxes for our clients. And then also FSG of Nevada, it's a firm licensed in the state of Nevada where we are able to do all of these things as well for our clients, same as we do here in Arizona. My advisors, Jerry Barnes. Jerry has been with me for quite a number of years. We're great friends, great family. He has been doing this type of work for 40 years as well, and he brings a wealth of knowledge to our clients, and my clients love him. They really do. They get great satisfaction of working with Jerry. And then I have Stephen Puckett. He joined the firm a few years ago. Young man, brilliant mind, great ideas. He's able to bring to the company new innovations in technology and ideas on how we should do things, and we're really very proud to have him. And then my team, great employees. They have customer services first and foremost to them. They work hard for our clients to make sure that they're happy with our service and what we do in our office. So why are you here today? You know, one of the things that I have found in the years of doing this is that when people are talking about doing estate planning, they procrastinate. And I have found that the main reason they procrastinate because they haven't found anybody that they trust, you know, to be able to help them to do their estate planning. You know, they listen to their neighbors or they go to these workshops and they talk to people and they get all these different facts and they don't know what to believe or what not to believe. And I pride myself on being able to give accurate and good information for my clients. So why are you here today? Maybe you're here to learn about estate planning. You know, you've been listening to people talk about it and you just weren't sure, you know, what you wanted to do or how you wanted to do it or what was even the right thing for you to do. And that's one of the things that we do is we present you with options and allow you to choose what is going to be best for your family. Maybe you're here to solve a problem. A death in your family, you don't know what to do. Someone's incapacitated, you're not sure how to handle it. You know, all of those things are scary if you're out there trying to navigate that on your own. You don't know who to call, you don't know what to do. We're here to help you with that. And last but not least, maybe you're here to find some answers. You know, maybe you're one of those folks that you meet for coffee every day and you hear all these people talking about things and so many different opinions and so many different things, and maybe you just want to get to the bottom of it. And one of the things that I like to encourage people to do is we do these webinars because we're kind of interviewing for your position to help you. And, you know, we want you to be able to come to us and say, hey, I want to do business with you. And we want to be able to say, yes, we want to be able to help you as well. So let's dig right in. We're going to talk about estate planning, wills, and trusts. So why is estate planning important? You know, I'm going to share something with you that is very personal to me and very difficult, you know, for me to get through. But I think it's important that you know this. You know, I always did estate planning for people and I never really gave it much thought when, you know, they said, oh, I lost my son or I lost my daughter. I mean, I felt bad for them, but, you know, it never had affected me directly. But I always knew that estate planning was important. And it's funny because when people come in to my office, you know, most of them are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I always wonder, why do they always wait so long to do their estate planning? I never did understand that. I think it's just because we all think nothing's ever going to happen to us. Well, I'm going to tell you that age is not a factor. I had a son, Justin. At age 39, he suffered from a brain aneurysm and passed away. And, that was something that, gosh, what a tragedy. Never thought anything like that would happen to me or to my family, but it did. Fortunately, my son was smart. He worked in this company, and he had done his estate planning, had 2 teenage sons that he had to take care of. And, we were able to do everything for him that we needed to do, and we were able to do it very timely. But again, why is it important? Because you don't know what's going to happen. It can happen to you. It can happen to me. It did happen to me, and I never thought it would. And I just want you to know that estate planning is important. All right, so let's start right in about wills and trusts. So this is kind of an interesting statistic that I'm going to share with you right now. Were you aware that 75% of all people don't have an estate plan in place for what happens to their assets when they die? I find that just so intriguing. And I actually have questioned my clients as to why. And their number one response is that they could never find anyone that they trusted or could get facts from so that they could go ahead and do their estate planning and feel comfortable. And that's why, we're doing this webinar with you, is because we want you to feel comfortable with us and we want to be able to help you. So, and then something that a lot of people also don't know is that if you die and you don't have estate planning in place, the state is going to assume it. They're going to make a plan for you, and that may not be what you want to have happen with your stuff. And here's an interesting statistic as well. Some of you have done your estate planning, you've done your trust or your will, but I would just want to caution you that 50% of all trusts actually end up in the court, and the reason why we're going to go into a little bit later in this webinar. So let's talk about what the process is with a will, so that you understand what happens. So if you die with or without a will, and I'm going to go into something about that in just a minute, and you have assets in excess of $75,000, your estate is going to be subject to what's called formal probate. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about is so many people tell me, well, I have a will, so it's not going to go to probate. That is so not true. That is a fallacy. That's one of the things that people talk about and go around. That's not true. If you have a will, it is a process that it has to go through the court, okay? Next, if you have assets under $75,000, again, people think they don't have to go through probate. You do. It's just a different process, and it's called informal probate. So what's the difference between formal and informal probate? It's time and money. Time spent that your family shouldn't have to do. They should be spending that time grieving or doing what they do as a family, and not spending time in a court trying to figure out how to get your assets transferred to who you want them to go to. So what is probate? Let's just really get down to it. It's a court supervised process that pays your debts and your taxes. That's that notice to creditors that you might see published in the newspaper. That's what that is. It clears any titles. The only one that can give your assets to someone else is a judge. And so they're going to make sure that all the titles and the deeds and the things to your stuff is clear so that they can pass it on to your heirs. And then they're going to distribute any remaining assets according to your will or according to state law if you haven't done your will. Is probate avoidable? That's probably the number one question. And the answer is yes. You can avoid it by doing certain things, but one of the most popular ways to avoid probate is to do a revocable living trust. And so a trust is an agreement on how you want your stuff to be handled when you die or become incapacitated. And you have total control of all your assets, and you can do whatever you want to as long as you're living incompetent. That's a fallacy again. People think that just because they put their assets in a trust that they lose all their control. That is absolutely not the case. So let's talk a little bit about what's the process with a trust. So in your trust, it's a document where you're going to name somebody to be in charge. And I always tell people, because they don't understand how it works, I say, think of it like a corporation. I own Financial Security Group of Arizona, which is an Arizona corporation. And in that corporation, I'm the president, and then I have named my successor or a vice president to take over in case I should die. And so that's kind of like a trust. It's an entity that's established. You put, you're in charge, and then you name a successor. So when the process with the trust that happens is your successor trustee is able to distribute your assets according to the terms of the trust as soon as they have a certified death certificate. And that's probably what makes it so desirable, because it's private. It doesn't have to go through the court system. It's quick. And I will tell you, in my experience of doing this type of work for 40 years, what causes people to fight is delay in getting what they think they're due, through the process of the trust or the will. And that's one of the things that you want to always try to avoid. Other benefits of a trust, these are very important things. It kind of avoids or reduces family disputes. We just talked about that, time. If your daughter thinks, because she's not a trustee and she thinks that things are happening and she doesn't understand it, or your son is mad because he thought, he was going to get his money right away. Well, you want to avoid all of that as quickly as you can, and that's why most people do go with a trust, because it does distribute the assets so quickly. Conservatorship, this is something that happens before you die. If you were to become incapacitated and not able to take care of yourself, the trust will already have somebody in place that's going to take care of you, so that you don't have to, or your family doesn't have to go to court to be appointed. And then there are some benefits to estate taxes, although with the estate tax limits so high, right now this is not as big of a benefit as it used to be. So I think that the number one reason why you should plan is to avoid conservatorship. Because what happens if you get sick and you're not deceased, but your family needs to be able to pay your bills or make medical decisions for you? And a good estate plan is going to include all of those things. It's going to have a financial power of attorney, healthcare directives, as well as the distribution when you finally do pass away. Additional reasons to plan. I think if you have any disabled children, people think that somebody's going to take care of them, so they're going to leave all of the assets to one of your children or somebody, and they think that they're going to actually take care of that child. But what happens if they pass away? Now there's a whole dilemma going on, and the child that you were trying to protect, the one that's on government benefits, is now left in the cold with nothing. Ideally, good estate planning is going to plan for those children as well. Maybe you have beneficiaries that have social problems. We live in a society right now where there's drugs and alcohol and poor spending habits and creditors and so many things that can create issues that if you give money directly to someone, that it's gone in a second. And so, planning is going to take care of those things. You can determine how you want things to be distributed. Maybe you don't want to give lump sum to someone who has a drug problem. Maybe you just want to give it to them over time because you don't want to leave them out, but you don't want to encourage them to continue with their bad habits. Other thing, blended families. This is a big one. I see so many times where people come in, they've been married before and have children from a previous relationship, and then they're coming together as a blended family, and they don't think about the consequences of what's going to happen if one of them dies first, and are they going to leave out the children unintentionally? Or you own a business, or you have an asset that you wish to keep in your family. These are all reasons to plan, and it's things that people don't necessarily think about until it's too late. Now let's talk a little bit about, for those of you who already have a trust and felt like you did the right thing, and you did, by the way, but there's some things that people don't understand about a trust and why 50% of all trusts actually end up in probate. And the main reason is that, number one, they have to be correctly drafted and they have to be kept up to date. Can't just do it, stick it in the top of the closet and never look at it again, because the laws do change and some of those laws are advantageous to you and you actually have to, bring it out and take a look at it. Second, they have to be signed, witnessed, and notarized properly. That is a big one. I have seen so many documents that I have looked at that the notary forgot to stamp their name or stamp their notary stamp on it, or they forgot to sign it, or somebody didn't sign it at all, or the witness was related to the notary, which is a big no-no. You can't do that. And so, it's really important to review these things to make sure that it's everything that you thought it was going to be. Also, your assets have to be funded into the name of the trust, and most people have no idea what I'm talking about. They go to somebody, they prepare the documents, and then they think, okay, I'm good. I have a trust. It's not going to go through probate. I did the right thing. Well, you know what? Congratulations, you did. But your assets have to be held in the name of the trust or be beneficiary driven to the trust, or else it's not going to work. Guess where it's going? To the probate court. So some additional reasons to review your trust, in addition to the funding, is laws change. So if you did a trust prior to 2007, the HIPAA laws came into effect. Remember, that's a thing that says it's okay for the doctors to share information with your family. Well, the reason why you want to make sure that that is in your trust is because you have a whole lot in there that says if you become incapacitated and two doctors say that you're incapacitated, then your successor trustee can step up. But what happens if you don't have that language in there? It creates a problem. Second would be if you have a trust that's done in the state of Arizona, 2009, the Arizona Trust Code was amended. And there's some things in there that are very beneficial to your family, things like spendthrift provisions, which how creditors can attack your trust and so forth. And if your trust doesn't have that, you definitely want to make sure that you get it in there. Stale power of attorney forms. This is a big one because a lot of times if your power of attorney is 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 years old, the banks aren't going to accept them, or the financial institutions, because they don't know if you've changed them since then. And so I always like to encourage clients, let's redo these power of attorneys every 5 to 7 years to make sure that they're up to date so that the institutions will take them. And then there's also changes in your life, that make you want and need to review your trust. That would be birth of, children or grandchildren, a death in your family, just like the one that I experienced. I had to go back and amend my entire trust as a result of my son passing away. He was to be the trustee of my trust, and he was a beneficiary, and I had to change that. Divorce, if you get divorced, your trust isn't valid anymore. It was done as a married couple. But what about if your children divorce and you had something going to their spouse? Again, things to review. And last but not least, marriages. Maybe children got married and had children, and before you had beneficiary directions going to surviving beneficiaries, and now you want it to go to your grandchildren. These are things that we need to look at. Reasons to review your estate planning documents. It's not a one-time stick it in the closet and don't think about it again. It is something, it's a living trust. It's something that you need to take a look at every few years and make sure that it still meets your goals. So I'm going to leave you with this. I always think it's so important to take action and plan. And again, I hope that I've been able to explain to you why you need to take action, why you need to plan, and why you need to do the things that you do to get your estate planning in order. And I hope that I've been able to let you know that we're here to help you, and we really want to be that company that you choose. So what are your next steps? You can schedule a free consultation with me or one of my staff by phone, by video, or in person. Our telephone number is 623-561-2323. And, we encourage you right now, give us a call while this is fresh on your mind. Don't be one of those procrastinators and put it off. Right now, today, 623-561-2323. Let's build a plan before you make a purchase, because you need to know what you want to do and how you want to do it. And let me help you with that. And know the terms and know the cost in advance. We're going to be fair. We're going to make sure that you're going to get everything that you need, and we're going to do it with your instruction to the best of our ability. So I just want to leave you with this. Call us today, please. Let us help you get your estate in order. And I just want to thank you for coming.